St. Paul tells the Corinthians in today's first reading, "If I preach the gospel, this is no reason for me to boast, for an obligation has been imposed on me, and woe to me if I do not preach it." And yet, a lot of people, when they speak about God, wear it as if it's a badge of honor, as if to say, "I am better than you who are listening to me. Uh, I am the best person. I follow God." But doesn't that sound familiar? Doesn't that sound like the Pharisees? And that is why St. Paul is reminding us to be cautious. Because when we preach, when we talk about God, it's not because we are better. It's not because we are blessed. But it's because God told us, God asks us to spread His word, to spread His kingdom. And why did He choose? It's up to Him. It's not because you are wise. In fact, remember, all the apostles are not known scholars. Some of them are learned men, but in different fields. But in terms of being a preacher, almost all of them have no uh, serious background. And Paul, who has a serious background, tells us that we should not boast because everything is grace. But you see, that becomes a problem. As Jesus reminds us in today's gospel, a blind person cannot guide another blind person. Brothers and sisters, let me tell you this. If you are considering you're talking about God, or your declaration that I am a Christian, I am a Catholic, as something that you should boast of, instead of it being a grace, instead of it being a blessing given to you freely by God, then you are probably blind. If you believe that your knowledge of Jesus and your speaking of it makes you better than others, makes you higher or more important than others, then you are probably blind. And that is why you are guiding the blind blindly, and nothing is going to happen. A lot of people are telling me, Volt, it's hard to evangelize. I can't help people uh, draw closer to God. What will I do? What technique should I do? Well, yes, it's important to consider how you will talk or how you will engage a person. Uh, like, of course, you cannot ask someone who loves rock and roll music to listen to pop music, right? But if you are not yourself close to God, how can you bring someone to God? If you yourself is not following Jesus, how can you make others follow Jesus? Where will you bring them? Where will you lead them? Down the wrong path. And that is why they too are lost. Brothers and sisters, where are you in following God? Where are you whenever you try to bring people to Jesus? Are you bringing them to Jesus, or are you bringing them to yourself? Because if you are bringing them to yourself, then don't be surprised if they don't find Jesus.